Hello beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we're going to be talking about my January reads. I read 11 books this month, which is a lot. We started off this year with a bang. So yeah, I'm just gonna give you guys my quick reviews on them, talk about some books that I'm planning on reading in February. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. So I did read a bunch of I listened to a bunch of audiobooks this month as well, because you guys know Libby is officially my new favorite app now. Like, I love Libby. It's my favorite. So my first book up is Until the Streetlights Come On, How a Return to Play Brightens Our Present and Prepares Our Kids for an Uncertain Future. So that is by Ginny Urick, and she is actually the founder of 1,000 Hours Outside. If you guys haven't heard about it, it's just basically a movement in order to get family and children spending more intentional time outside. I believe this is her second book. But yes, I gave it a 4 stars. I don't really have much else to add to that because it is a nonfiction book. But it says it may shock you to learn that we spend an average of 4 to 7 minutes outside each day, while we spend 4 to 7 hours using devices with screens. Needless to say, our physical, mental, emotional, and relational health has suffered, but there is a ready solution. Get outside. So this book shows you the importance of unstructured play for children, what boredom actually contributes to our brains, the value of sunlight and social play, the role of play in lifelong learning, and how to make outside time more attractive to your children than screen time. Basically that. We're actually doing the 1,000 Hours Outside Challenge. I did purchase the app. It was like $2, I think. And we have spent total this month so far 23 hours and 3 minutes. So we definitely have a long way to go to get to the 1,000-hour mark, but we are on our way, which is very exciting. Okay. So the next book I read was for my book club read with my friend Valerie that I talked about a lot last year. It was The Guest List by Lucy Foley, and I gave this 4.25 stars. It says a wedding celebration turns dark and deadly in this deliciously wicked and atmospheric thriller reminiscent of Agatha Christie, from the New York Times best-selling author of The Hunting Party, which I'll talk about that in a second, but I did end up reading that one too. The bride, the plus one, the best man, the wedding planner, the bridesmaid, the body. On an island off the coast of Ireland, guests gather together to celebrate 2 people joining their lives together as one. The groom, handsome and charming, a rising television star. The bride, smart and ambitious, magazine publisher. It's a wedding for a magazine or a celebrity. The designer dress, the remote location, the luxe party favors, the boutique whiskey, the cell phone service may be spotty, and the waves may be rough, but every detail has been expertly planned and will be expertly persecuted. Or, I can't read. Expertly executed. It's fiction, contemporary. It's like a mystery thriller. It's more of a medium-paced book. Some might say fast-paced. I would have given it a fast-paced rating, but the beginning was like a little slow to like jump in. So that's why I gave it like a medium pace rating. Since I'm on the topic of Lucy Foley, I will also talk about The Hunting Party that I did, and that one came out before The Guest List. This one I gave a 3.5 stars. I actually finished it yesterday. The beginning and the middle was kind of like meh for me. It really didn't pick up till more towards the end, and the end I did not see coming. It definitely threw me off guard. I thought I knew who the killer was, and then it turns out I didn't, and I did not see that coming. So I gave it a 3.5 stars because it was more slower paced. Again, it's another thriller whodunit type novel. My favorite thing about this is that the audiobook, it had different voices for the different character. I love when they do that because I feel like it gives you, I don't know, like more of a real life story, I guess. It's easier to like submerge yourself into the story more when there's different people for different characters, and it's easier to like keep track of who's because a lot of times I notice when you listen to audiobooks and there's only one author, sometimes I lose track of things and I'm like, oh crap. Wait, what happened? Huh? What? But yeah, so I really liked that one because there was different narrators for each different character, which is nice as well. So again, I gave that one a 3.5 stars. The next one was The Shadows by Alex North. I gave this one 3.75 stars. And this one is about, I've never read Alex North before. It was my first time reading them as an author. But basically, it's about a group of friends who like dream things, and then those dreams come to life, but it's more on a malicious side. So like they'll dream about killing someone, and then that happens in real life, and one of the guys in the group tries to intentionally do this to people. So it's just kind of like how that whole thing ends up happening, and it goes back and forth between the present and the future, because it's like this group of kids when they're kids, and then it fast forwards to them as adults, and how their stories go back and forth and how they connect. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. It got like mixed reviews. A lot of people gave it a pretty low rating, but I liked it. I don't have any complaints. I mean, a 3.75 is a pretty decent rating, if you ask me. It does have 2 different people narrating it, which is nice. But yeah, not much to say there. If you like thrillers, then you might like that one. The next one is Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. And I gave this a 4 star. So I had mixed feelings about this book. I feel like at the end I ended up giving it a 4 stars. However, Persephone kind of annoyed me. So she's the main character. It's basically about these 2 kids, Persephone and Sam, and how her parents, Persephone's parents, end up buying a lake house. So every summer, her parents spend the summer at the lake house, and she meets Sam and his brother next door. And it's basically the story of them falling in love. It is told from 2 different timelines. So it's like present Persephone, and then you go back to when they were 13, 14, 15, each summer, blah, blah, blah. And basically they fall in love with each other, right? But then she does something stupid. And then instead of talking to Sam about it, she just leaves. And wastes, what, 12 years? And she stopped talking to him when she was 18. It wasn't until she was 30 when she came back into town because Sam's mom passed away that she got in touch with him again, and they finally talked it out, and then everything was fine. So it was kind of annoying, because I'm like, you guys could have just talked about it to begin with, and then you wouldn't have even had this problem. You wouldn't have missed 12 years of each other's lives had you just communicated about it. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's a very big thing with like storybook characters, is that they just tend to run away instead of just, you know, talking about it. And I'm like, had you just talked, you guys could have worked it out and it would have been fine. So at the end of it, it redeemed itself, I suppose. But there was a very large part in the middle where I just wanted to smack her, because I was like, Persephone, what are you doing? What are you doing? I don't understand. Just talk. It's fine. So the next book is Evil Eye by Etaf Rum, and I gave this one 3.25 stars. So basically, it's a book about the complexities of Palestinian American identity, family dynamics, and the lingering effects of childhood trauma. And I get we all have trauma, you know what I mean? But Yara was a little annoying. Like, she was very woe is me. You know what I mean? Like, it took her forever to actually like go to therapy and work through her trauma. So, and I don't know, it was just kind of icky. She left me with an icky feeling, you know what I mean? Because instead of, like, for instance, spoiler alerts, if you don't want to know, don't listen to this part. But like, she was a part-time teacher at a college. Her husband's a full-time business owner. And she was mad that she couldn't apply to be a chaperone for a trip out of the country because they have 2 daughters, because her husband couldn't take a whole month off of their own business to be able to, you know, tend for the girls and stuff like that. And like she threw a whole temper tantrum about it. And she was all like, well, how come I can't do what I want? And blah, 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 blah. And it was just annoying because it's like, Yada, common sense. You have 2 young children and your husband works full time. Like, let's sacrifices here, okay? There will be a time to travel when your children are older, but when your husband is in the middle of building a business, it's not usually the time he can just take copious amounts of time off of work. You know what I mean? Anyway, she was kind of whiny. In the end, I guess she redeemed herself. And there was like a twist in there that I didn't expect. But for the most part, Yada's character really irritated me. I was just like, why? Anyway, so 3.2 stars for that one. Next one is our February book for I didn't expect, like I said, everything on Libby came available for the month of January. So I was like, well, might as well listen to it because I have it. And this is my second time listening to this or reading this book. So I actually have the whole Chronicles of Narnia series. So I just had to, you know, freshen up on it. So the one that we read was The Magician's Nephew, obviously, because it's the first one. I gave it a 3.75. And this one is just about Diggory and Polly, and how their uncle accidentally discovers the creation of the Narnia. And how all of that came into place, and then meeting Aslan for the first time. It was alright. It's not my favorite book in the series. I do like some other books in the series better. It's a good prequel, but far from the most memorable in the series, if that makes sense. So if you haven't started the Chronicles of Narnia series, go ahead and start it. The Magician's Nephew is kind of like, meh, but it does get better after that, I promise. So go ahead and check that one out. The next one was Killers of the Flower Moon. Guys, okay, let's get comfortable with this, okay? So Killers of the Flower Moon, in case you guys didn't know, Leonardo DiCaprio, what is his name? It was directed by Martin Scorsese and Robert De Niro. They were all cast in this movie, and it just came out at the end of last year. It actually has 10 Oscar nominations, so it was a pretty good film. So being who I am, I was like, I can't watch the movie before I read the book. So I waited. I've been waiting for this book for months on Libby for it to finally become available, and it finally did. So I gave it a 4.75 stars. Yes, 4.75 stars. It's written by David Gran, and it's about the Osages. And maybe my public school education just failed me, but I don't ever remember learning about the Osages at all. So it's about the Osage tribe, the Osage murders, and the birth of the FBI. So basically, the story is about a family named, her name is Molly. That's the main character of the book. So Molly's family are full-blood Osages, and it turns out that when the United States pushed the Osage tribe to the reservation that they were living on, they ended up discovering oil. And so the Osages were in charge of said oil, and the United States government was paying them money basically to use their oil. Long story short, so it's about all of that. And if you were a full-blood Osage, you obviously got more of a head right than if you were like a half-blood Osage. So Molly's family are full-blood Osages, and her family members keep dying in mysterious ways. And not even just members of her family, but like other full-blood Osages as well. They were being murdered, and no investigation. And I think it was like 30 murders or something before the FBI got involved, or what is now the FBI got involved. It it was an infant. It was in its infancy when they investigated the Osage murders, but it took years and for lots of Osages to come up missing or dead before the government got involved, because, quote, it was Indians' land, so it was none of the United States business, basically, what was going on there. So it took a long time for people to actually take them seriously and come listen to what was happening. So they finally did, and it's basically just like the everything that happened involving that. So like the trial, who was involved, like the back and forth, and all of that. And it was just very sad. It was sad. It made me angry. It was like, what the heck? Why did I never learn about this kind of thing? And it just kind of opens up your eyes to the treatment that we gave the Native Americans when, you know, trying to establish this country, I guess you could say. But yeah, I really did like that book, and then I immediately watched the movie afterwards, and I was hoping they told it more from Molly's point of view, because they told it from her husband's point of view, and her husband was a white man. And yeah, it seems like they try to make him out to be a better person than he was. So I was really hoping they told it more from Molly and the Osage point of view, but they kind of they told it more from Burkhart, which is her husband. Told it from his point of view, which is fine. But if you haven't read that book, I would definitely recommend it. I loved it. But yeah, 4.75 stars for that one. And then my next one is The Helsinki Affair. This was my November book of the month read. I'm so behind, okay? I'm on my November one. I need to read my December one, and I have my January one. So we got lots to get, and it's almost the end of the month, so I'm about to get my February one too. So I need to put some pep in my step when it comes to my physical books. But The Helsinki Affair, it did start off pretty slow at first. I couldn't get into it. I was just kind of like, okay, all right. But then it ended up getting interesting, and I gave it a 4.5 stars. And it's basically just about a girl named Amanda Cole, who works for the CIA, in the footsteps of her father, Charlie Cole. And basically she gets thrown into an investigation that ends up linking back to her father and something that happened in Helsinki, Finland, and why he left covert affairs and all of that. And she has to basically decide whether she wants to reveal that her father's a double agent or not. And it kind of like goes with the back and forth in that, and it has a few missions included in there too. I think this is Anna Pitoniak's second book. Oh no, she has Our American Friend, Necessary People, and The Futures. So she has a few other books as well. I might check them out. But yeah, so I gave this one 4.5 stars. If you like spy novels, go ahead and check this one out. My next one was another audiobook as well. It's called Ready or Not, Preparing Your Kids to Thrive in an Uncertain and Rapidly Changing World by Madeline Levine. And I gave that one a 3 stars. It's a nonfiction psychology book. It's not that it was bad, I just don't think it's relevant to me at this point in time. It's more so for parents with older children, so maybe I can give it another listen when my kids get older, but at this age that they are, it's not really relevant to my kids. So if you have older kids in the middle school, high school, college age, then maybe it'll benefit you more. But for me, it was just kind of like, oh, okay, I'll try to remember all of this by the time my kids are of age. So next book was on my Kindle. It's called Same Time Next Year by Tessa Bailey. It was actually a novella, first of all, if you guys like my customized cover screen for my Kindle. So cute. Second of all, let's talk about Kindle Unlimited for a second, okay? So I actually decided to discontinue with my Kindle Unlimited because financially, I was like, I can do book of the month, which I love, or I could do my Kindle Unlimited. I'm not really going to do both. So I decided to the Kindle Unlimited. So I haven't picked up my Kindle in a few months. Okay, but I rediscovered my love for reading on a Kindle, and I decided that I was just gonna buy books for my Kindle. I was like, I'll find ones that I really, really like, and I'll just purchase them for a Kindle. It's fine. Turns out I do pay for Amazon Prime, and if you have Amazon Prime, there's a whole selection of books that you can read on your Kindle. I was so upset when I found that out. I was like, I was paying for Kindle Unlimited for so long for what? Why? Because a lot of the books that I read under Kindle Unlimited, I would have been able to read under Prime for free. I think the main difference between them is that obviously Kindle Unlimited gives you a way bigger option to choose from when it comes to books, and Prime reading has a lot smaller of a selection, but still it gives you a decent amount of books that you can choose from and you don't have to pay extra for. So there's that. So the next, like I said, it's called Same Time Next Year by Tessa Bailey. It was a 4.25 star. So it's about a girl named Britta and a boy named Sumner. I can't say. I always want to say Summer, but it's not Summer. It's Sumner. Basically, and Sumner is on her half brother's hockey team. He's Canadian, and he's about to go back home, get deported because his visa's up. And so him and Britta end up getting married in order to keep him in the country. And she agreed that she'll do like a temporary marriage with him or whatever. And it's basically about them falling in love for real. And I wish there was more about like after their relationship became like official, because obviously they were married, but I wish there was a little bit more. Like, I wish it was a full-length novel instead of just a novella. But it was very spicy, which surprised me, because I was like, this is a short book. What are we doing here, Miss Tessa Bailey? But yeah, so it was short, cute. Their love story was pretty cute. And the way he got her to come out of her shell was cute too. But it is very spicy. So I will leave you with that. And then yeah, so that's it for the books that I read in the month of January. So moving on to the books I'm currently on my TBR for February, I have Mother Culture. I read the first 5 chapters with my friend Valerie. We're reading it together. So we read the first 5 chapters, and then for the month of February, we're doing chapters 6 through 10. We'll see, because we said we might read more because the chapters are very tiny. They're not long at all. It says, Mother Culture is the skillful art of how a mother looks after her household. With a thinking love, she creates a culture in the home all on her own. A mother does a lot taking care, so she needs to take care of herself too. As a mother is feeding and cultivating the souls of her children, she is nourishing her own soul with ideas while taking a little time for her own play and creativity. May you find the principles on these pages to be invigorating, especially if you have a low battery. May they strengthen you in your ongoing efforts to create the happy home your heart desires. So, lots of goodness so far, and I'm only 5 chapters in. So, that's always nice. Next up on the list is The Fury by Alex Michaelides. And I've read his other 2 books, The Silent Patient and The Maidens. So this one's called The Fury. It's his new release that just came out this month. And it's about, surprise, surprise, a murder on a private Greek island. So I am 15 chapters in, but some of the chapters are like 2 pages long. So it's pretty, like that much of the way through. So then there's that one. And then on my Kindle, one second. I started reading Girl in Cabin 13. I just started it, but it's basically, it says Emma Griffin FBI mystery by AJ Rivers. So we'll see what that one's about. But so far I read 1 chapter, so I don't really have a synopsis for you guys. But the Girl in Cabin 13, Emma Griffin, an FBI Mystery by A.J. Rivers. That one is available on Prime Reading, like I was telling you guys. So that is nice as well. And then my last book on my TBR for February is No One Can Know by Kate Alice Marshall. It says 3 sisters, 2 murders, and too many secrets to count. So, surprise, surprise, it's a murder mystery. 14 years ago, the Palmer sisters, Emma, Juliet, and Daphne, left their home and never returned. But when Emma discovers she's pregnant and her husband loses his job, she has no option but to return to the house that she and her strange sisters still own, and where their parents were murdered. And so it's basically about her trying to find out more about her parents being murdered. So very excited to read that. And then on the 1st, on Thursday, I'll be able to pick my February book of the month. So I don't know which one's that's going to be yet, but that'll also be a TBR that I have as well. Thank you guys so much for watching this very chatty book review with me. We'll see how many books I get through for February. I don't think I'll get nearly through as many as I did this month. January is like the last slow month, or the only slow month for me before things start kicking off. So on the 1st is my husband's birthday, and then at the end of February it's my oldest birthday, and then 3 weeks after that my baby turns a year old, and then we're in garden season, and then, you know, everything is just so I don't know if I'll get through anywhere near 11 books in a month for the rest of the year, but at least it was nice to start off January with such a bang. So now I'm a little bit ahead of my reading goals, so it always makes things a little bit easier. Let me know what your reading goals are, or if there's any books that stood out to you this month that you read. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.